So today's verse I chose from the Bible app, and it is Proverbs 16:3. So I'm going to read it out of, I have the NLT, so I'm going to read it out of the NLT, and then we will jump right in. Okay, so it says, commit your actions to the Lord and your plans will and your plans will succeed. Oh my gosh, my brain is not on today. Okay, so some versions say commit your works to the Lord and your plans will be established. So this verse I love just because I think it kind of goes back and forth with a few other things. Hi, Justina. I think it goes back and forth. For those that are just joining, we are reading Proverbs 16 verse 3. So I like this verse just because it's saying commit your actions to the Lord. So whatever you do, you want to do it for God first, and you want to make sure what you're doing is aligned with what God has for you. You don't want to be out of His will, if that makes sense. So to make sure you're in His will, you want to do what He has for you. So with that, you want to make sure you're asking Him if this is what He has for you. So for example, let's just say you wanted to open a new business, and instead of like you just opening the business and just jumping in opening the business, it's best for you to kind of sit down and pray and sit down and wait for God's kind of like okay to tell you that this is what you're supposed to do versus you just jumping out there and opening this business. And for me personally, I go to God before everything, and I think part of that is because I'm lazy and I don't want to do something twice. So I would hate to be like, oh, I want to open this business, and then I go open it and then God's like, yeah, but that's not what I had for you. You're supposed to do this. And it's like, oh my God, so now I just wasted my time doing this and now I have to do this. So you want to make sure you're always in the will of God. And when I read this verse, I like to reference it with Matthew 6:33, just because. Good morning, Cree. I'm reading Proverbs 16:3. So I like to reference it with Matthew 6:33 just because you want to seek Him first and seek what He has for you first. And once you do that, I believe it all kind of like come together and make sense to you. So that way you're not just 100% doing what you want to do. It's making sure that you're aligned with God. Just because in Psalms 37:4, it says, delight yourself in the Lord and He'll give you the desires of your heart. So if you are delighting yourself in the Lord, meaning you're going to God daily, you're going to God for everything. Hi, Katie. Good morning. We're reading Proverbs 16 verse 3. That means if you're going to Him with everything, you are basically, you should be delighting yourself in the Lord, and you are seeking Him first and not your own desires. And then your desires should soon line up with His, and then you're on the same page. So it says, commit your actions to the Lord and your plans will succeed, or some versions say your plans will be established. So God is the one that will make sure your plans turn into fruition, if that makes sense. So you want to just make sure you're operating out of His will and not your own will. So, to commit your plans to the Lord, to commit your plans to the Lord, I think it's just simple as you praying to God, making sure He is going before that situation. I think it's basically you communing with Him. That's why as Christians we need to communicate with God. We have to talk to Him daily. We have to talk to Him all the time, not just in the morning when we're saying like, thank you for waking me up, and then at night, thank you for giving me this day. We should be in communication with Him throughout the day. So this should just come as second nature. So I hope this is making sense to you guys. I feel like I'm rambling. So one more time, commit your actions to the Lord and your plans will succeed. So that is it, my friends. Are there any questions? Any questions, comments, concerns? What did Chris say? I love that Bible verse. Yeah, I love that. Today's verse was one of my, well, you guys know I love Proverbs. One of my favorites. Makes perfect sense. Thanks, Jazz. Anyone? And if you guys want me to discuss a particular verse, let me know. I can discuss it like the next day or whatever. I usually just I have like 5 different apps that I use in the morning, and then I just randomly choose which one I want to go to unless God is telling me to use something else. So for the most part, I just use one of the apps that we all have. Thank you for this one today. Love this. I'm glad you liked it, Crystal. Do you have that Bible app, Crystal? It's just the App by You version. Do you have that one? I always read, I read the NLT and then I read the New King James Version just because I feel like one's a little more literal, but one's like almost like a dumbed down version. Hi, sissy. One is very, almost just like as if we were talking. It's very like, hey girl, hey kind of version. And especially in the morning when I'm reading, when I wake up, the first thing I do is I grab my phone. And I got convicted for being a freaking millennial from grabbing my phone. So now when I grab my phone, the first thing I do is go on my Bible app. And then that kind of helps me like, okay, that's what you need to do first. Don't grab your phone and go straight to Instagram. I'm not sure. You will have to message me which ones are best. I will do that. I will send you a screenshot of what the app looks like. And that app is cool because you can choose which version you want to read. And it just makes it easier for you, especially if you're traveling. Sometimes like Bibles are huge and you don't want to carry, well, I don't want to say you don't, but me personally, I don't want to carry this with me because it's heavy. So it's good to have it on your phone. But since I've been home, I have been reading out of my physical Bible. But when you're like traveling and stuff, it's best to have it on your app. Why do I keep getting emails? Lord. But anywho, so yes, that is it for the day. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will be back tomorrow. Bye, guys.